This is going to be a hairy video documenting the massive clutter in my workspaces. I'm planning to do a big cleanup, and I wanted to document how bad it was before the big cleanup. Note the stack of hockey pucks, my stereoscopic microscope. This is the air cleaner. In the background it's a Weller Zero Smog with a remote control up here, and the PC board holder right here is held by this really heavy vise at the back to counterbalance any PC board weight. There's a little container of screws that I use to brace my soldering hand. Just to show some of the things and touch on just a few of them. These are my surface mount resistors, all organized by size. Hard to tell from that, but they are easy to get the right value. Voltmeter, solder spool, more solder spools, cotton rag, surface mount capacitors in there, an old Tektronix scope up here, 40 amp power supply down there, 2 amp power supply here, 2 soldering irons, a hot air gun up here, some hot glue guns here, more hot glue guns there. These hot glue guns have different colors: white, black, clear, and silver. Oh look, vacuum tube voltmeter, solder sucker. Down here we have spools of hookup wire, both stranded and solid, and just random pieces of wire here if I need them. Over here we have through-hole resistors. We have surface mount resistors here and here. We have an old case with LEDs in it. These are imperial screws and nuts, and some metric screws and nuts. Up here we have some hot glue and some screwdriver bits. Down here we have heat shrink, soldering supplies. What's in there? Wire ties. And in here we have random screws and nuts from various equipment that I've salvaged. Over here is just some random sensors and fans and battery holders. Over here we have through-hole capacitors, and over here we have things like rubber feet. And there's more junk up here. There's some supercapacitors in there. This desk over here, which is full of crud, is going to end up to be my audio studio at some point. Down here we have the big toolbox, all kinds of stuff in there. And here we have some component boxes, so there's some connectors and screws in there. There's LEDs, transistors, regulators, op amps, common components like that in these boxes. Over here we have connectors and switches. And moving right along, hiding in the back here we have another oscilloscope and an arbitrary waveform generator, fancy dust cover. Just to show one of the hallways here, there's some project cases in these bookshelves, animatronics, pulleys, motors, all kinds of project cases up there. And over here we have another bookcase with a couple of helmets up there. My wire wrap stuff is here. This box is just full of Raspberry Pi stuff. More Raspberry Pi stuff. Down here is another toolbox with some well, this one has rivets and ferrules and things like that in it. There's some hex drivers down there. Over here on this wall, more project cases, liquid crystal displays, Pico microcontroller stuff, G chargers, BBC microbits, all kinds of stuff. Arduinos. There's more Arduino stuff elsewhere. There's more Arduinos, Adafruit stuff, ESP32s, ST micros. Down here is some power supply stuff, thermocouples. Down there is probably some PSOC stuff, MSP, and all kinds of stuff. There's sensors, vibration sensors, force sensors, supercapacitor projects, and on it goes. So let's, going back over here, so this is a computer table on wheels with an old PC down here. I think that's my Amiga monitor down there. Some old speakers, keyboard. Obviously I'm not using that PC. Wander over here. And here's a large 3D printer. And coming into my sort of video studio area, this one has my Roden Schwartz oscilloscope and my Keysight power supply, another voltmeter. I've got all kinds of voltmeters around here, and Microsoft Service to run whatever experiments I'm doing. And you'll notice these big lighting systems. And on the lighting systems, we have these little 3D printed brackets to hold all kinds of wires and cables. Another little table full of hand tools and whatnot that I might need. And of course, this one also has more wires and cables. And this big cabinet over here, we have some instrumentation, like the B&K battery tester, some power supplies down there, and there's a scale here, all kinds of stuff in there. Up there is a Henrietta project. So I'm going to go upstairs and just grab a shot of my computer area, which is just as cluttered. Oh, by the way, there's a little router back there and some more project stuff. Actually, a little bit of a mechanical work area here with a drill press and a big vise, and another little bench with saws and drills and stuff like that, and a cabinet over there, a tool cabinet which has mostly screws and fasteners in it. You can see it's pretty cluttered. Alright, we're upstairs. This is my computer desk. Big computer, couple of screens, usual stuff. There's some magnifying glasses, volume control thing, some hand tools, another voltmeter, display and keyboard over here just to run some Raspberry Pi stuff, label maker, power supply, jars full of tools, Over here is a laser printer. And down here we have modules like Bluetooth radios and Arduinos and sensors and things like that. And of course, over here we have 2 more 3D printers under these covers. So that's a quick tour, and now I have to really take about another year to get rid of a bunch of this stuff, or tidy it up, or organize it in some way. By the way, next to the computer we have a bunch of project boxes. This is our Raspberry Pi Pico project on the go. I'm working on some stuff for this helmet. That's the caliper stuff. There's a bunch of camera projects in here. There's some breadboard stuff there. Anyway, you get the idea. Just tons of stuff and lots of work ahead of me.